Welcome to Bingeworthy. I am Rob Southgate. With me is
Martha Southgate.
And you can follow us on Twitter at SMG Binges. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on our website. Just look up the Bingeworthy podcast. If you go to the website, it's southgatemediagroup.com. Click on the TV shows button under podcasts, and you will find Bingeworthy there. We have a voicemail that you can click on there, and you can leave a voicemail if you want to talk about this show we're going to talk about. If you want to talk about one of our past shows, or you just want to leave us some message. It's a great place to do it. And if we like the message, there's a good chance we're going to put it on the show, and we'll interact with you that way. So there you go. Business is out of the way. Martha, today we are doing
Californication.
Yeah. What is this, like 17 seasons?
Let's see. It was created by Tom Capinos. It aired for 7 seasons on Showtime.
I was off by 10.
August 13th, 2007 to June 29th, 2014. And it stars David Duchovny and Natasha McElhenney, I think is how you say her name, Madeline Martin, Evan Handler, Pamela Adlin, Madeline Zima, and Stephen Tobolowsky. And it is one hell of a cast.
It really is.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I wasn't sure. I put this show off for a really long time. I am a huge X-Files fan, a huge David Duchovny fan.
Yes,
and I was afraid to watch this show for a really long time because I thought it was just going to be smut.
Well, you know what? The ads, they advertised it that way. They always made it seem like it was just going to be a booby show.
So I sat down and watched an episode by myself because I thought, you know what? I'll screen it before I have Rob, have to, sit through it. And so I watched one episode and I was like, oh, okay, wait a second. Got into the second episode and went, oh, this show has so much depth and heart.
But it was funny.
And so then I made you watch.
It's funny, though. It didn't exactly play out that way at first. Mm-hmm. You watched those couple. You told me, you were like, hey, I watched this Californication. I want you to watch it. But you were defensive about it. Like, I don't know if you're going to like it.
Yeah. Well, I knew. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't, we weren't.
But you're not a big David Duchovny fan.
No, I love David Duchovny.
Oh.
I love him on X-Files.
Right. But I mean, and
I'm not like
I
you.
Didn't know you'd like him in other things. You don't always like him in other things.
What else has he been in? I liked him in Evolution.
Okay. You liked him in California.
I liked him in California.
You liked him in California with Brad Pitt.
But I love him in X-Files. I think he's excellent on there.
Yeah.
So I was definitely ready to watch it, but I was hesitant, and even the way you were selling it to me, you seemed hesitant to try to get me to watch it. So I thought, okay, maybe this is just Martha like being into David Duchovny. But that wasn't the case.
No.
We watched one episode and I said, yep, I'm in.
But you saw it by the second episode.
Yes.
Because the first episode, he's a New Yorker and he's moved to LA and he has he's estranged from his baby mama and he has a daughter.
Yeah, they're not married.
They have a daughter and he is falling apart because he is no longer with the love of his life.
Right.
And so the first episode is just him spiraling so completely out of control.
Yes.
But by the second episode, you really start to see the man instead of his dysfunction. Like
he was despicable in that first episode.
Yes.
And really he remained pretty despicable through a lot of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
But the humanity was shining through.
Gosh.
And Duchovny was really building a character,
mm-hmm.
and it allowed the other characters to build out from his. I really enjoyed. By the time we got through the first season, I was like, "Yep, I'm in."
Oh, we could not stop watching. We binged these 7 seasons pretty fast. There are 84 episodes total.
Wow.
And
that's like a full-time job.
Now, interesting, on X-Files, David wrote some of the episodes, quite a few actually, of the episodes, and he directed one, I believe, but he was, or 2, I'm sorry, I think he directed 2, but he wrote several, he was totally wrote 2, I think, and then helped on many.
Okay.
And on this, I saw an interview with him, and he said, "This is Tom, and this is his, like, this whole world that Tom was building." He said that he could not write Hank. David could not.
This was not. He did not have
him.
A beat on this
and
character.
He said I could not write him, and I thought that was really interesting. And he was.
He brought a ton to the character.
He did, but I think that a lot of people assume that that's David in real life, and it is very far from David in real life.
It is.
But
it is the presumption a lot of people have, and even one of the reasons I was turned off from the show is I thought that was what he was.
Yeah.
And I thought, I just want to see this guy being this like sex crazed
drug alcoholic.
And it wasn't who I wanted him to be.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have that impression at first. And then it was when this show started up and he was in the news for some stuff, and you're like, man.
Yeah.
But then you find out the reality of it, and you're like, wait a minute.
No.
This isn't him.
Not him.
And he is not like this guy. And really, when you watch the show, the really bad stuff is only the first couple episodes. It really changes.
And if you're watching it critically and you watch him, you see that he doesn't do most of the things. It's the characters around him that are doing all of the Charlie
is despicable.
Oh, but Charlie is abused. Evan Handler is abused by these writers.
Now, you know what's funny?
For 7 freaking seasons, and it's brilliant. But he is absolutely tarred and feathered in every episode.
You know what's funny with Evan Handler? So we were never fans of Sex and the City. We never watched that.
Well, we can't say we weren't fans because we didn't watch it.
We just never watched it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but we can't.
I don't mean like we didn't like it. We just never watched it. I remember we watched one episode because our friends were all telling us how great it was. We watched one episode, didn't quite connect with it. You know, it's one of those where we're like, yeah, someday we'll go back and watch it.
Yeah, you probably have to watch it from the beginning and like really get into the characters.
Evan Handler was a character on it, and he was abused in a very similar way on that show. And here it is, 15 years later or whatever, I see him come on, and immediately I have this feeling of he was the thing I thought was really funny, really gripped his character on Sex and the City.
Mm-hmm.
So I was excited to see him here, and he delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Evan Handler
is brilliant as
amazing.
Charlie.
And
Charlie
Marcy
is a
great character.
Pamela Adlon, oh my gosh. And she plays Bobby on King of the Hill, which kills me.
Which is crazy.
Every time I think about it.
Yeah.
But she was so brilliant. I mean, all of them. It was an exceptional show. They had great cameo, like guests, like Marilyn Manson, Tim Minchin. He played the rock star guy.
Oh, right. Oh my gosh.
Oh, he was brilliant.
Oh, he was amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, there were a lot. An interesting fact was that during filming, I can't remember if it was the first season or the second season, but in the middle of filming, Natasha McElhenney, her husband was killed in England, and she had to leave the set. Like, they have little boys. I think she was pregnant, and they had 2 little boys, and her husband was this. I think he was a surgeon.
Yeah, he was a surgeon or something.
Just a very well-known, well-respected surgeon, and he died, and she had to go back. And I mean, pregnant with 2 little boys. And
my gosh.
Oh my gosh. The tragedy. And then she came back. And when you watch the series and you think of what she was acting through, and she came back and she said, I need to work. Like, just put me back in. I'll finish out the season, and then I can deal with what I need to deal with. But luckily they were able to film. I think they only filmed like 6 weeks in the summer. So all the cast said it felt like going to summer camp every year. And so she was able to leave and then come back and finish out the filming and then go and take time to tend to her herself and her family, but a horrible tragedy.
Wow.
And it really changes the show when you watch it knowing that, because she is such a wonderful actor, and when you think of what she was carrying, like what she was having to struggle with at that time.
They also had, when you're talking about actors that came in, Stephen Tobolowsky.
Oh my gosh,
was amazing.
He was
on
fantastic.
This show. And when they brought him in, I thought, okay, he's going to be on for a couple of episodes. He ended up staying for like 30.
He became he became a large part of the
And you know what's
show.
funny? I didn't watch this with you, but I binged through the rest of Silicon Valley, and in the last 2 seasons that are out, Stephen Tobolowsky is on.
Mm-hmm.
And completely different character,
mm-hmm.
but it's still him. So he's still got that, hey,
mm-hmm.
that Southern.
Oh, he's so brilliant in this. Oh,
on this, you love him so much. On Silicon Valley, he's despicable.
Yeah.
At first you love him, and then he's despicable. And so it was great to see this shift.
Yes.
And to see him playing this character. And even this they abused Charlie. They abused Stu.
They abused Stu pretty well, but not as bad. No one as bad as Charlie.
No, Charlie really.
Okay, a couple of my favorite I loved Maggie Grace.
Yes.
I loved
she
her.
She was great on this.
I loved Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe was so funny.
Rob Lowe was fantastic, and I loved...
And his interaction with David Duchovny was super
it's so
funny.
Brilliant. Kathleen Turner had a very remarkable, memorable character.
She was excellent.
But my absolute favorite was Jason Baggy, I think is how you say his name, and he was Richard Bates.
Oh, my God.
And
Richard Bates, when he hits the first episode he's in... It is,
my gosh, like I can't even describe it in a brilliantly funny way.
And then the fact that he keeps
he comes back and he becomes like a real character, like a regular,
he becomes
an important character,
but
so funny.
He goes to those depths of insanity.
Oh my gosh.
You're like, I can't believe they're going to continue doing this to this guy. He was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I did love the rock star Minchin was
Tim Minchin. Yeah.
Fabulous. And
Lou Ashby. Callum
Keith Rennie was Lou Ashby. He was awesome.
He was one of my
Michael Imperioli was on this too.
Yeah, he was good.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the greatest character that was brought in.
All right, go ahead.
In the last season, Oliver Cooper played Levon.
Oh, I love
which we can't tell you about Levon.
But you know what? A lot of people didn't like them.
They were wrong.
Oh my God, their chemistry! I loved him and
Levon made that last season for me.
I did too. You know what? I absolutely loved it
because they had reached a point by that season where everything kind of changed. And they couldn't go back to the same well they had gone to a couple of times. And that's not saying that they went to it and it got boring. They had reached a point when like, okay, we can't tell this story.
We really got to go big.
Change the story.
Yeah.
And it was almost like when you watch a show that gets canceled and then they give them one more season.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but we wrapped everything up. What do we do?
Oh,
Even though they didn't wrap it up.
They did something.
They just shifted gears in a hard way.
Yeah.
Bring in Levon.
It was...
Oh my God, I loved him.
It killed me. It killed me. This show, there were times it made me cry.
Yeah.
There were it made me laugh my freaking butt off. It made me cringe. It made me so grateful that I don't live in LA. There were so many things and it was I don't even know how to explain it, but I really hope that people will go back to this show and give it a chance and see it as more than its marketing. Music,
I think the marketing does it a disservice.
The music was so incredibly well placed and well done, and I can't hear Rocket Man now without just being transported to Californication, and and it gives me all the feels. But I absolutely loved the show.
Yeah. You know what? I'm looking through here and I'm finding more guest stars. We didn't mention Heather Graham was great on this show. Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Oh no, maybe I didn't. Yeah, I loved Heather Graham. Yeah.
Played Krull.
Yeah,
I loved him. Peter Gallagher was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Justine Bateman, Peter Gallagher, M. Beth Davids.
But you missed
Diane Farr.
You missed.
We liked her,
but you missed one of the greatest moments. Mm-hmm. Rick Springfield.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And he's on for 4 episodes, and I'm telling you, it doesn't feel like 4. It feels like he was on the entire time. Mm-hmm. And that's not it's not saying it in a bad way. Mm-hmm. It's like he is so big of a character that you feel like he was just always there. And then I had one more, Trixie.
I did. I loved her.
Well, do you know who that is? She's been in tons of stuff. It's Judy Greer.
Yeah.
But
she was in was it the 30 going on 15 going on 30?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, what was that show with
she's in 27 Dresses.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking
but
of.
Yeah, she's 13 going on 30.
Was I right?
But more important than that, number one, she played Kitty Sanchez on Arrested Development. But
yes.
Even more important, biggest thing of all, she's Cheryl on Archer.
Yes.
So she is amazing. And then she plays Maggie in Ant-Man, which is his wife.
Yeah.
But she's Cheryl. Cheryl is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I loved the cast, and they never failed to bring in great characters.
Yeah.
Patrick Fischler was in it.
Peter Fonda.
He played Gabriel. I said Michael Imperioli.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like you look through and you're like, oh my gosh, so many good people, and not even like huge names, just people that you really like when you see them in stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it was just it's just excellent. Oh, Lee Ehrenberg too.
Yeah, we love him.
He was on this.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. It's just an excellent show.
Yeah, it is. And
now,
it's not dumb, and it's not written down. It's not like dumbed down. It's a very smart show. And even though they go to the lowest common denominator a lot of the time, just because that's who the characters, like Charlie and Hank, but there's so much depth to it, and there's so many layers, and you just go, oh my God, like every episode.
They marketed it like it was a sex comedy, and it's not.
It's not. It's so much more than that.
It has a lot of sexual stuff going on.
Yeah.
But it is not a sex comedy.
Yeah.
It is, man, it's just an excellent show. I just really enjoyed it. Now, when we get to what we say about it, you may be surprised at how I say whether it's binge-worthy or not, because I have a very specific thing to say.
Okay.
I
wanted to talk about really quick.
Yeah.
I loved the casting overall. The only one I thought was very strange was Becca, their daughter. She looked nothing like either one of them in such a drastic way that I thought, okay, there are some really strong recessive genes somewhere along that, or she was adopted, but we know she wasn't adopted. But it was the most bizarre casting.
But there are recessive genes on Hank's side, and I'll tell you how we know that. Levon.
Well, God help me, Levon.
So
yeah. Something happens to David and Natasha that they could produce that, and David and Heather Graham could produce Levon. Like,
spoiler, but who cares?
Shoot, okay.
Who cares?
But in that case, I mean, seriously.
When you
how
get there,
the hell?
And they don't hide it. When it happens, you go, oh my God.
But how?
But think about it.
Could they produce them? That was a little weird for me.
I could see that, but it didn't bother me. And I'll tell you, the other thing is, I loved her character so much, and she was the perfect daughter for Hank.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, when I look at them, I'd think, they don't belong together. Like, it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That was just the only thing that was a little off.
She could have been Marcy and Charlie's.
Yes.
daughter.
100%.
But yeah, no.
Yeah.
But I could see that, but I still think it might have just been that they had her read and went, Oh yeah,
she's so perfect that we have to use her, even though she doesn't look like them.
And she was great.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what were you going to say?
Okay, are we getting to the?
Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Otherwise, we're going to spoil like crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying not to spoil anymore. And
this is one I wish we had known about in the beginning, and we had done episode by episode for 7 years. Like,
sure.
This is one that I would have had a blast
going through,
talking out, but not as a binge. Oh my gosh, I couldn't do it now, trying to get through 7 seasons.
No.
But like as the seasons were airing,
right,
I would have loved to have done this one.
Sure. So, Marth, do you want me to start or do you want to start?
Oh, I'm just going to say binge the hell out of it.
You're just binge the hell straight
binge
up.
Binge the hell out of it.
Start it.
We would watch sometimes. Well, they're short. That's the other benefit.
Yeah, they are.
They're like 20,
a half an hour, 24 minutes. So
we would sometimes watch 6, 7 in a day.
Yes.
So I would binge the absolute hell out of it.
It's funny because I have 2 thoughts on this. I say binge the hell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I also think when you have 7 seasons of this, each season is distinct.
Mm-hmm.
They do have cliffhangers at the end of the season, something that makes you go like, oh, I can't wait to get to the next season, but they're distinct.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to do it again, have the opportunity to have done it, knowing what I know,
mm-hmm.
I would say binge the heck, but binge a season,
mm-hmm.
watch something else, binge a season, watch something else, like flip-flop, because I think you would have so much more fun. Because when you binge 7 seasons, at some point you start. I don't know. I don't think you catch as much.
Interesting. I think it's one that I will watch over and over.
They were so distinctly different each season. Other than 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are tied together very closely. After that, each season is like themed in a different way. And I think that you would have a lot of fun if you binged 1 season and then binged a season of Handmaid's Tale, and then binged a season of this, and then binged something that's a 1 season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the end you'd be like, oh my God, I loved Kelly. You probably couldn't make it doing that through 7 seasons. You probably do like 3 that way, and then you just binge right through because it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you might get more out of it if you spaced the seasons a little bit. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't have that ability to turn things on and off. I have to watch it because my attention span is such that I will forget. I will not go back. So for me, I just have to focus and I want to complete something. So
sure.
I loved watching it all at once. And so for me, I didn't have that issue, but I can understand savoring. But I know that this is going to be one, much like X-Files,
that you'll go back,
where I will be watching these over and over. And it was like a death for me when the series ended.
It was rough getting to that end, especially when you knew the end is coming
and we're done.
And they
like
know
there's
it's
no
done.
more. Yeah,
there's going to be resolution here.
Yes. And it was really, really hard for me to leave that world, even though it was not a world I have any part in. Like I don't live any part of that.
About that.
But at the same time, I loved these people.
But we loved the characters. We would
I loved them.
Hang out with the characters at a party and like have great conversations.
I loved them, and I each character brought so much to the table. And it was really hard to say goodbye.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is one I will definitely be rewatching.
Yeah, I think it comes down to what you feel about it. If you're binging and you're just like, I can't stop, because we couldn't. But I do think that if somebody had told me to do a season, do a season, I think I probably would have savored that. I probably would have enjoyed that a lot. So there you go. All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Follow us on Twitter, SMG Binges. Find us on Facebook. Find us on our website, southgatemediagroup.com. Send us an email at southgatemediagroup@gmail.com. And at the website, you can also leave a voicemail in the upper right-hand corner. And if we like your voicemail, if we like your idea, if we like your little tidbit, we might play it on the show. And there you go. Give you a shout out at least, right? So get in conversation with us. We love it. Talk about like other shows you'd like to see binged because we are always on the hunt. All right. That's it. Martha, you're done?
Yep.
I'm done too. Marth, back to the couch.